hovercrafts and 1,238 boats and a number of field rescue teams from the armed forces were used during the rescue operation. The logistic flow system for relief items dispatch distribution is as flashed on the screen. We actually overall operate according to the UN propagated system of cluster approach. Now coming on to the role of Army in floods of 2010, the government of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa was quick to requisition the Army troops which were already in the area on the first night. We had something like 13,000 homeless people sheltered in Army units. All units in Swat were declared as relief and medical camps. Units vacated their own accommodation and spared the rations to accommodate and fed the affected people. Army doctors and field hospitals established mobile medical centers to ensure prevention of epidemics and provision of timely medical assistance. Soon the engineer resources were mobilized for re-establishing road links and laying Army equipment bridges. Over River Swat, the bridges are even existing till today because the reconstruction process has not yet completed. And to top it all, the largest ever aviation operation in the country was launched not only to rescue the stranded people, but to sustain over 600,000 people which were surrounded in Kalam and were cut off from the mainland. During operation, Army employed maximum of 110 battalions, that is about 55,000 personnel, and 52 military aviation and 15 foreign helicopters. During this operation, Pakistan Air Force and Pakistan Navy also contributed their troops and assets. During the crisis, Pakistan Army worked hand in glove with the civil administration, private donors, United Nations agencies, national and international NGOs, and the foreign aid missions sent by our friendly countries. The details of assistance provided by the Army in this operation are also highlighted on the slide. Now, just few words about the resettlement and rehabilitation. Over the last decade, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan has experienced large-scale involuntary displacement caused by a range of factors. The main cause for internal displacement in 2009 was military operations against militants in Malakand region and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, leading to an exodus of 2.3 million people, creating one of the largest displacement crises in the recent times. Large-scale displacement again occurred after the 2010 floods, forcing over 7 million from the homes. Major efforts were put in at national level for speedy rehabilitation and settlement of the affected population. So far, over 150,353 displaced families have been rehabilitated out of 367,882 families. They've been assisted voluntarily to be in their respective locations. Special support group created by the Army managed the successful return of the displaced persons in only 2 to 3 months' time in a textbook manner. Peshawar Corps, which was being commanded by the now Secretary of Defense Pakistan, acted as an interface between all stakeholders involved in the management of the federally administrative tribal areas displaced persons. Reintegration and reconciliation efforts of Pakistan, I will talk a little about this. The reintegration is an important contributor towards achieving human security. Such efforts are required to change the behavior primarily by rehabilitating or de-radicalizing. After successful military operations in Malakand and Swat, Pakistan Army launched focused pilot projects out of necessity. In collaboration with the non-government organization, Hum Pakistani Foundation, that is a local NGO, and the patronage of the government of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to de-radicalize the reconcilable detainees. De-radicalization and reintegration program was conceived aiming at providing conducive environment for restoration of self-respect of the detainees with a view to de-radicalize and remove psychological burden caused by ideological exploitation or coercion so as to make them primarily and their families secondarily useful members of the society. A large-scale and comprehensive reintegration effort was initiated by the Army. Because non-hardcore detainees, if and when convicted, are likely to become more radicalized in our prisons. Through de-radicalization program, hope of recovering and rehabilitation of a large number still remains alive. De-radicalization program provides a nucleus and a beacon for subsequent larger or expanded de-radicalization efforts required elsewhere. So far, over 1,100 detainees have been reintegrated into the society through the de-radicalization program for the adults. The de-radicalization module for the adults includes the subjects as they've been shown on the screen. The psychiatric module is the most effective one so far, and let me share with you, ladies and gentlemen, the results have been very, very encouraging. Out of more than 1,100 people, only 4 were those who were found or who were likely to get involved or get into reverse mode. Otherwise, it has been more than 99% success. De-radicalization for the juveniles is planned at a different facility that created for the purpose with the name of Sabaun. In the local language, the Sabaun is known as the first ray of the rising sun. The post-reintegration care is also ensured for women in emancipation, and we have the VTCs established for the women, and more than 7,000 women have also been reintegrated into the society through the vocational training centers. To completely reintegrate the locals of affected areas into the society, 2 technical institutes have also been established. One is known as KITE, that is Khyber Institute of Technical Education, and the other is WHITE, Waziristan Institute of Technical Education. The institutes are established to impart technical skills to the detainees with a view to integrate them into nation building and reduce unemployment. I'll say a few words about the KITE. Since 2007, KITE has organized 12 courses and has trained more than 2,000 students in the courses as flashed. These are the subjects which are imparted to the students so that they can earn their livelihood once they are reintegrated in the society. As far as WHITE is concerned, the first batch underwent the technical education from 21st October 11 to 31st January 12. Detail of the courses at WHITE is also flashed on the screen. It is on the similar model, but it is located in Waziristan area, closer to the hometowns of the detainees. Revival of the socio-economic activities was also concurrently undertaken. A number of events covering a vast array of socio-economic activities are organized regularly to revive the normalcy and bring an enduring stability in the affected zone. There's a summer festival organized this year where more than 10,000 people per day participated in an area which just had an inflow of tourists, 600 people in the last season. So it has been a tremendous success. We could invite the people from all over Pakistan to this war-torn region. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I shall share with you the lessons learned from Pakistan's experience in these 5 wars. And first, coming to rehabilitation and reconstruction. Reconstruction efforts should address both hard components and soft components, that is like education, management, teaching methodologies, etc. Both of these are necessary to ensure quality education delivery. In phased approaches to education sector, reconstruction, accessibility, and ease of construction can lead to over-concentration in urban or more developed areas. Efforts should be made from the outset to provide education facilities in underdeveloped or neglected areas. Reconstruction planning should aim to rationalize education facilities in accordance with the population. Interim arrangements must be made to restart education immediately in the form of temporary shelters. In planning health sector reconstruction, the aim should be to establish integrated and rationalized health system. Community mobilization should be carried out to enhance public awareness about health matters. Reconstruction of governance infrastructure can be used as an opportunity to address previously, that is pre-disaster shortcomings. Alongside, attention should be paid to recruitment and capacity development of staff and establishment of streamlined processes to create an efficient and service-oriented public sector. Urban development should be considered as a long-term development exercise rather than simply as reconstruction. Rather than relying solely on typical government institutional arrangements for implementation, other options such as hybrid models involving the private NGOs should be explored. Few words on the resettlement. Statistics on internally displaced persons must be disaggregated by gender and age rather than being compiled in terms of number of families, because they give you misperception about the exact number of the displaced people. Systematic psychological assistance be provided to the affectees, especially in conflict-induced displacement. The overall response must also take into account their mental health. Particular attention should be paid to the psychological needs of children. Where the displaced persons are housed in camps set up for the purpose, the same camp to allow them to maintain social bonds and community network. They may be from the same tribe, same clan, or ethnic group. The uprooted population must only be asked to return to their native places after the situation has stabilized there. Non-reintegration and reconciliation. Regional, national, and local approach is required to integrate the radicalized individuals of the society. It should have well-defined parameters built on the concepts of prevention, de-indoctrination, and rehabilitation, and post-integration care. That is very important to avoid reversals. A robust strategic communications should back up the national approach for changing the mindset. Preferably, National Coordination Authority should harmonize the effort of all agencies for effective manifestation of the overall strategy. Besides enacting multiple reintegration programs in affected areas, a post-reintegration care is necessary to monitor and resolve socio-economic problems of the released beneficiaries. For better reconciliation, local or the traditional reconciliation mechanism should be put in place, like in the tribal culture, you have jirgas or you have some sort of union councils. Say that if we want to protect the citizens against ever-increasing hazards of calamities and ongoing conflicts, we need not to only formulate policies for action at national level, but also ensure their implementation. It is irrespective that military is in the lead role or the civil administration. The cause is sacred and supreme noble, and that is to achieve lasting peace and stability. I thank you all.